Chapter 6: The Sunset, the Promise and the War. The summer of 1935 was unusually warm. The wine from the Sound was soft, the sea as salty but pleasant, and everywhere there was the scent of honeysuckle and freshly cut grass. Hunter was 24 years old. His economics degree was behind him, the future was ahead. But right then, that very evening, there was only one thing in his world, Elvira. They stood on a cliff by the bay, where the sun was about to disappear into the horizon. The birds fell silent, the sea lay still like a mirror, and the light painted the sky in orange and pink tones. "Think," Elvira said quietly. "We have walked all the way from school to here." Hunter smiled, "And it feels like it has only just begun." She turned to him. "Hunter, have you ever?" But she didn't have time to finish. He leaned forward, caressed her cheek, and kissed her slowly. Their first kiss, the silence was total. Just hearts beating, lips meeting, hands holding each other tightly as if the world could disappear at any moment. It was the beginning of something beautiful. The summer became theirs. They walked through Ramlasa Bruns Park, danced to gramophone music in Elvira's living room, shared dreams about the future under starry nights. Hunter had gotten a job at a bank branch in Helsingborg, and Elvira wrote articles for a local newspaper. Their love grew, and with it came a new kind of freedom. One evening, after a picnic in Pulse Forest, when the sun had set and only the glow of the fire remained, they kissed again, longer, more passionately. Close to other people, they didn't even notice. Their world had shrunk to each other's bodies and breath. "Let's never pretend," Elvira whispered against his neck. "I don't want to hide what we are. We are something big," Hunter said. And eventually, as autumn swept in with its cold winds and darker evenings, they took the plunge. One night in October, after laughing until tears flowed at a ridiculous movie at the cinema, they lay together in Elvira's bed for the first time. It wasn't an easy act. It was awkward, nervous, in love. But it was real. They kissed for a long time. They held each other for a long time. They even laughed in the dark when the sheets moved on the floor and a book fell from the bedside table. The next morning Elvira lay on his chest and said, "If this is life, then I don't want anything else." Hunter kissed her forehead. "Then we'll just have to make sure we never let go." The years passed. Between 1936 and 1939 they lived together in a small apartment overlooking the harbor. Elvira continued to write. Hunter was promoted to department head. They cooked together, argued about the amount of coffee, teased each other in the kitchen, fell asleep in each other's arms. Sometimes they argued, small and big, about how late Hunter worked. About Elvira wanting to move to Stockholm and become a real journalist. But for every conflict, they always found their way back to each other. And every time they did, their love was even stronger. On New Year's Eve 1938, they stood on the balcony with a paper cup of mulled wine each and looked out over the fireworks. "It's going to be our year," said Elvira. "Everything feels right," said Hunter, as if nothing could go wrong anymore. And then they kissed once more, with the same soft security as the first time on the cliff by Viking, but now with a home, a life, a future. But then came 1939. The radios began to talk about Hitler more and more often. Over breakfast they discussed Germany, the invasion of Czechoslovakia, the unrest in Poland. Elvira wrote angry debate articles. Hunter listened quietly. One evening in August, as they lay on the sofa reading, Elvira said, "Do you think there will be war?" Hunter turned his gaze to her. "I don't know, but what could go wrong?" He said it with a smile, an attempt to remain calm, but Elvira saw the fear in his eyes. 2 weeks later, on September 3rd, 1939, the telephone rang. Hunter slowly walked over to the set in the hall. Elvira stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, as if she already knew. He picked up the receiver. The voice on the other end was cold, mature. "Is this Hunter Oscar Carlson?" "Yes, this is the defense staff. You have been called up for military service with immediate effect. The foreign situation requires mobilization. You are to report to Berger Regiment within 48 hours. I understand." He slowly hung up the phone, turned to Elvira. She knew. She saw it in his eyes. No, she whispered. No, 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 I have to go. You said nothing would go wrong. Hunter walked over, held her. This is not the end. This is just a trial. Elvira began to cry. Quietly at first, then it came like a storm. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to. You're not coming, I swear. They stood there, in the hall. The door was ajar. The rain outside began to beat against the windows. The world held its breath. The day before they left, they went one last time to the cliff in Viken, the same place where it had all begun. Elvira had packed a lunch bag. Hunter wore his gray coat and held her hand. They sat in silence for a long time. If I don't come back, Hunter began. No, nothing like that. No if, okay, when I come back. We'll get married, right away. Elvira looked at him. Her eyes were red, but with a faint smile. Do you promise? I promise with everything I have. They kissed again, slowly, long, as if the world was about to end, and this was the only thing that could save them. The train was at the station in Helsingborg. It was cold. Uniformed soldiers moved along the platform with rifles, bags, orders. Hunter stood in his new field jacket. Elvira held his hand with all the strength she had. I love you, she whispered. I love you more, he said. More than words could ever say. Come home to me. I'm coming home. The door to the carriage closed. Hunter looked at her through the window. She waved, tried to smile, but cried. The train began to roll. Hunter put his hand to the window. Elvira ran alongside for a moment. Then she just stood there, alone, with the rain mixing with her tears, and then he was gone.